Hey guys, for discussion two, I decided to use Vincent van Gogh's uh, Old Man with His Head in His Hands. This can be found on page 99, and the medium is pencil and paper. It's very simple. Um, what I found interesting about this was the fact that it is often compared to The Carpenter, which was created 2 years before this, and it is also on page 99. But the reason why it's compared to it is to show the growth that Van Gogh had from his first drawing to his next. And what I also find interesting is this is very similar to another painting that he did later on in life, 8 years later, called Sorrowing Old Man. And as you can tell, the old man is very despaired, distraught, very depressed looking. And one thing that I really noticed about this was the fact that he is alone in this picture and it's focused mainly on him. And everything else is kind of just background, but it's mainly focused on the man himself and his emotions. And Van Gogh is known for using art as communication, and during this time period, he was known to have been rejected a proposal because of his financial situation. And this could just be a metaphor for Van Gogh himself and how just the situation he was in was very disappointing and frustrating. And Van Gogh is also known to have done a lot of uh, self portraits. So this could represent Van Gogh in a way. But something else I noticed in this picture was that he seems to have just been suffering from some sort of tragedy of some sort, whether it was work, relationship, whatever it is. He seems to be very frustrated, disappointed, sad, whatever adjective you want to use to describe that. And the other thing I noticed was the dark to light relationship. And his clothes are all dark. His undershirt is a little bit lighter, but everything else in the background and even the chair itself is a lot more light and a lot brighter than the clothes that he has on, and from his boots to his vest to his pants. Everything else is a lot lighter than what is there. And another thing that I noticed was um, how the lines create an edge and how there are some straight lines that imply curve. Right through here, we see that there are some straight lines, but there's also an implied curve with the curvature of the pants here. Also on the boots, there are straight lines, but they imply that the boot is shaped in a curve. Another thing that I noticed is that there's a lot of shading in here and a lot of soft to hard lines. Up through the man's head area, there's no lines at all, but right through his vest and his pants and his boots, very, very dark and very, very shaded. And that was another thing that I noticed. But overall, this seems like it was just kind of a rough draft for what would eventually become Sorrowing Old Man, which he painted 8 years later. And it just seems to me that as a whole, this is kind of just his first go around, and that he really wanted to capture emotion within the drawing itself. And that was pretty much just everything that I picked out of that. So